I had a hobby too. Mine happened to be guns and ballistics, and I studied guns and ballistics as much as I could, and I wrote an article about high velocity.
So out of all my years working at Weatherby, the last 5 have been some of the most exciting. Working with Adam, with him running the company.
And to think that I get the opportunity of carrying on my grandfather's legacy 75 years later here in Sheridan, Wyoming, I mean, it really is a dream come true.
Oh, I'm home. Thank God I'm home.
On our mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
On our mark, the Weatherby Podcast. We've got some fun stuff to talk about today. I'm your host, Luke Torkelson, Vice President of Sales, Marketing, and Product Development, and whatever else Adam asked me to do. And I've got with me our marketing manager, Tyler, whose name I totally killed.
First podcast, he got it wrong.
I said it was Tyler Grethen. It's not Tyler Grethen.
It's Grayton. Like, have a great day.
Great.
I just keep thinking great hen.
Great hen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, that works. That's what I'm going to use from now on. You're the great hen.
The great hen.
Awesome. And we have our international sales guru and resident shotgun subject matter expert, Kyle Killen. Welcome to the podcast for the second time, Kyle.
Good to be back.
What a last name, though.
Killing them.
Yeah.
We got the great hen,
And
killing
you're
them.
killing them. And then you have...
And then the Viking descendant son of Thor. Really, it's no big deal, guys, but kind of a big deal. We've got some cool stuff to talk about today. If you're here to talk about Mark V's and ballistics, this is not the podcast for you. This is a shotgun podcast. We have some new guns coming out.
We do.
In the spring of 2019,
Yes.
we launched the 18i. It is an Italian 3.5-inch inertia-driven shotgun that's quite nice. It has a couple variations. We did all the synthetic models were in a 3.5-inch chamber, and then we did the deluxe in a 3-inch chamber, 12 and 20. The 20s obviously were 3-inch, but we did not have a synthetic, and the 20s still don't. But we've got some new 3-inch synthetic models coming out that are pretty awesome, and we want to talk about why that they're awesome, and also talk a little bit about what you can expect from my content and hunting perspective from Weatherby, as we are right now just in the beginning opener of elk season. I was out for elk opener 2 days ago, and now I'm already excited about waterfowl season.
It's just around the corner for us when it gets good.
Okay, Kyle, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here.
All right.
So you've used some of these guns already.
Yes.
Can you tell me what you did with them?
So we took them up to Canada, actually, to do a little bit of beat down on them. Prior to that, we ran...
When was this?
4 weeks ago now? 4 weeks ago, I think. Beginning of September. So early season Canada. Ducks are still all brown, so you're just shooting brown ducks and big honkers, which is a lot of fun.
Hold on. I just want to make sure that, because maybe not everybody understands the whole process that a duck goes through, but what do you mean they're all brown? Like mallards have green heads?
Yeah, later in the season. So up there, they are still in their molt phase. And as they come down, they'll be going through and out of that molt phase and into their full plumage. So it's early enough up in Canada. They are still, you cannot tell the difference hardly between a hen and a drake until almost they're on the ground. And then you're going to see maybe a few colors kind of in there.
So can you tell the difference between like a mallard and a gadwall, or do they just all look like gray ducks, brown ducks?
Pretty much all like brown ducks minus, like, say, pintails.
Yeah.
And that just because of the body shape.
Yep.
Spoonies, I would say you could probably tell just because, I mean, he's kind of got a nice little air wedge up front.
Smiling mallard.
What part of Canada were you in?
So we were up in Glaslyn, which is north of Saskatoon. It's actually right on the edge of the boreal forest. So they make that hop down from Alaska. They kind of get right there, and it's a real big just area loaded with a lot of water, a lot of grain fields like barley, peas, everything like that. Fantastic area to kind of get in some birds.
So you guys were hunting a couple of different setups, or was it all fields, or what were you guys hunting?
So this trip actually, was the first time in Canada I've ever hunted water. So we actually did a water hunt one evening and got to experience the organic bottom that they always tell you about, which is
like that peat bog stuff.
Yeah, you're going to step in it. You're going to go up to your knees, even if there's only an inch of water up top. So that was a fun experience. We actually got to take our outfitter's kid on his first duck hunt. So he went along
That's
for
fun.
the ride. So that was a lot of fun. Swatted some mosquitoes on that one. But most of the time, we're hunting out of panel blinds, basically. So right in the middle of the field, using willow trees that we're cutting, strapping vertical, make it look almost like just a chunk of random hedge, and just finish them in tight.
They're coming in pretty close, huh?
Yeah, we had, especially on Friday of that trip, it was foggy, and it was 15 yards on most opening shots. I was a little overchoked that day.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, I made a midday swap.
Right on.
So-
Let's talk a little bit more specifically about the new 18 eyes. So,
Yep.
I mean, I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to pretend that I don't. So, why did we go to a 3-inch chamber on the waterfowl models?
So there's a couple reasons. One is if you have a guy who wants to be able to do everything from doves to ducks, geese, turkey, the 3-inch is going to allow you to run those lighter loads that you want to use on the clay range and on the dove field. So with a 3.5-inch, you are having to take and run a stiffer spring because you're running a Roman candle down that thing with a real high velocity coming back on that bolt.
Right.
So when you only have to count for a 3-inch load, you don't have to run as stiff a spring. So now we're able to go lighter on our shells and still have the reliability that we're known for.
Yeah.
So that made a huge difference. And then the other kicker is that really 3.5-inch, not as many guys are using it anymore. There has been
with the advent of tungsten and bismuth and people are shooting lower total length shells, but getting the same, if not more, payload.
Well, and that's the kicker too. When you get into some of these now, you're able to run with, like, say, bismuth. You're able to run number 5s and have a higher pellet count that is more lethal than, say, number 4 steel.
Yeah.
So
we've been playing with the Boss shot shells, and
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because you're taking this little 2 3/4-inch 12-gauge shell that literally looks like a field dove load, but it is like an absolute like waterfowl hammer.
Oh yeah, I remember the first time you showed it to me. We had that duck hunt in the slough, and you took the one right over the top, and I was like, "Well, that was impressive."
Yeah, that hurt him pretty bad. So yeah, more total range. It's not that the 3.5-inch won't shoot 2 3/4 shells. It will, but if you get to like below 1.25 ounce, 7/8 of an ounce, you really start to have some reliability issues. On a 3.5-inch chamber, especially if your shooting mechanics aren't ideal. Like,
Correct.
let's talk a little bit about what an inertia gun needs, because it's different from what a gas-operated shotgun would need from a shooter mechanics perspective.
Yeah. So when you're shooting on an inertia gun, it is compressing the spring inside the bolt head there, which then causes, as it compresses, to slam the bolt rearward and unlock that bolt head, go into the rear. If you don't have something solid to recoil against, like your shoulder, or if you're out on your bicep and you're kind of like trying to do a weird angle, you can cause that gun to malfunction because it can't fully get that inertia
You're
slam.
forcing it to short cycle.
Basically, yeah. So, I've seen it over the years with guys, super cold weather, puffy jackets. They're getting into their shoulder pocket, but there's so much cushion even on some guns. I've seen those guys have problems on like straight overhead.
That's where I see the most issues with people is on a weird shooting angle. Typically, your first and second shot, like, it's pretty good, like you're feeling good, but then by the time you get the third shot off, you're like doing a contortionist type situation move where you're like way left or way right. And if you're a right-handed shooter and you're shooting way right, like, you're so opened up, if you can't twist far enough, you can't give it the platform that it needs to recoil against.
Yeah, and you see it a lot in layout blinds because you can't twist as much out that direction.
Yeah.
And those are usually those late season goose hunts when you're on those blinds trying to keep hidden in the stubble. This gives you a better option if you're going to shoot a good shell.
Yeah. So again, our 3.5-inch chambered 18 eyes, they run great. They run very reliably, but I think you're going to have a wider range on the low end on these new 3-inch chambers.
Yeah, we've ran them down down to 7/8 of an ounce, and they've been cycling exactly how you want them to. We see with good mechanics about 1 1/8 ounce, sometimes down to 1 ounce, depending on shooter size. Like I'm not a big guy, so I can sometimes get away with 1 ounce on a 3.5-inch gun, but it's going to depend a little bit. So 1 1/8 ounce readily available in target loads.
Absolutely.
But in this day and age, with shotgun shells being what it is,
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah. That's why I took a 3.5-inch gun last year to Canada.
That's funny. So, yeah, there's a shotgun shell availability has been a challenge for sure. But I like the 3-inch gun just for what we've talked about. I've never really had an issue with our 3.5-inch gun, but we've had some partners that have had problems where just smaller guys typically, like sub 5'8" and maybe sub 160 pounds have seen some problems.
Yep.
I think this will fix all those problems. And it's not inherent to the Weatherby 18i. It's an inherent problem, if you want to call it a problem, but it's an inherent issue with an inertia-driven shotgun. There's a trade-off, right? So let's talk about the trade-off. So what are the benefits of an inertia gun over the gas gun?
So inertia versus gas, some of the biggest benefits is going to be simplicity in the inertia gun. And then the lack of cleaning you're going to have to do on an inertia gun. So with a gas gun, you're literally pulling gas off of the shell you just fired, running it into the chamber as it's shoving that bolt backwards, which means you're getting unburnt powder, a lot of grime kind of going into there. Whereas with the inertia gun, probably 95% of everything is going out the front end because it's already down halfway down the barrel before that bolt's beginning to unlock from the pressure curve. Yep. So that's a huge benefit. And then again, the part simplicity. I mean, my 7-year-old can tear apart an inertia gun and put it back together.
Very simple.
Yeah.
And that's why we've gravitated towards the inertia system. It works. It reliably works, and it's just very simple. On a gas gun, if you're going to go from really light to really heavy loads, you got to mess with cylinders and make sure you got the right ports. And this way, you just simplify everything. So, but to everything, there's a trade-off.
There is. So that's where you run into light shells really struggling on your form. That's the biggest issue, which going to the 3-inch then kind of takes a lot of that out of the equation.
Yep.
So,
Tyler, what models are we going to have this new 3-inch 18i in?
Yeah, so we're going to have the synthetic, so we're going to have a black option, and then we're going to have...
So that's black with blued metal, so just like a minor level of corrosion resistance.
Yep. And then we're going to have Realtree Max 7.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Mossy Oak Habitat.
Yep.
And then we're going to be offering First Light Cypher with like a custom Cerakote job on that too.
I love First Light Cypher.
it's a pretty
so that's
hard pattern to
exciting.
beat.
Yeah. So First Light does have a new waterfowl pattern they just announced. At some point we'll be coming out with a model in that pattern as well. But for now we've got Cypher, which I think is a great palette for waterfowl. It's a good looking gun. It'll be a good looking upland gun. And I really like having Cerakote on the metalwork. It looks sharp, and Cerakote's like tough business.
Yeah. So it's going to be definitely good in the marsh and everything from turkey hunting to upland to everything on that gun. So
yeah, it's going to be
turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good looking gun. I really love the looks of that one, and the color pattern is pretty universal to pretty much everywhere we end up going, I find.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you're talking about waterfowl, it's the same color palette basically between all three of those. When you got Habitat, Max 7, and Cypher, you got a lot of light browns and dark browns, and the way they do the spatial breakup is obviously different between each pattern, but the color palette's very similar. So I want to hear a little bit more about that Canada hunt. So first time hunting on water, and you also, but mostly still field hunting.
Yeah, we spent
is it like a limit every day?
Yeah, we had one day. One day we did not fill an entire 8-man limit in the blind.
God, you guys suck.
Yeah. And let's go into the fact that it's 8 geese, 8 ducks per guy. So
come on.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that. 8 geese, 8 ducks?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, light fronted,
No.
dark, just 8 geese.
Well, 8 dark, so 8 Canada
Okay.
or speckle bellies, 20 snows, and 8 ducks.
So did you have a day where you did like max limit, like snows, dark, and
No, I
Ducks.
mean, the
Good,
snows are just.
I'd be real upset.
We
had
like the ultimate hunt. You could like never top that.
No, that would be ridiculous.
no. You just set the gun down and you
I'm
walk
sure
away.
it's,
You're
I'm
done.
sure it's possible.
It is. It just. I mean, snows are so unpredictable. I mean, they can be sitting there piling into a field the day before. You're in there the next morning. Gone. Yeah. So, and the way it works in Saskatchewan is you have to kill your Canada geese by noon up until October 15th. You cannot hunt Canada geese in the afternoon until after October 15th.
Sounds like some kind of like goose union law.
I don't know where
What
it comes
is
from.
that?
I'm sure Tyler knows it. I'm like, he told me this, and I was like, well, we didn't have to do that last year. He's like, yeah, you were here at the end of October. I'm like, okay.
So if you're hunting past noon, you're decoying geese in, but you just watch them?
Yeah, I mean, we'd actually pretty much, in the afternoon, you can shoot your snow still, but just not Canada's. You can't do your darks in the afternoon. So we would primarily hit our geese hard in the morning, usually kill ducks too a little bit in the morning, and then finish up all of our ducks in the afternoon.
I'm sure Trudeau made that rule somehow. That's crazy.
I'm sure he did.
That's nuts.
So
Crazy.
yeah, we had one day we had a big weather shift come through. And so, I mean, I was scouting the field the night before with Tyler and Mario, and we were looking at 5,000 geese in that field. So we're looking at about 5,000 honkers in that field, and we're like, we have access to this field. It's going to be a great morning. Weather change, we're like, it should be fine. Did exactly what it did to me last year in Canada, the one big weather change day. All the geese went somewhere else. We still shot like 28 geese that morning, and I can't complain about that.
No.
So, but it was just like, where'd they all go? And we found them 2 miles down the road in a field they were literally cutting that night at 7 o'clock at night when we were leaving.
Wow.
So how do they find that?
And what kind of field was it?
Barley.
Barley.
Yeah. So it was just like, how do they find that, like, that short a notice? And it's just like, I don't know. But every time we get that
They
message.
sent out a messenger.
Yeah, I guess. There's that one lone goose who's just flying back like, guys, you
I
won't
got
believe
it.
what I found.
I got it. We got to get there first.
But
Oh,
so
man.
that was 3 days of that, and then you told me about a little bonus hunt too.
It was 4 days.
4 days of ducks and geese,
And then a little bonus hunt before leaving that morning. So we drove up, so we didn't have flights to catch. Everyone else had flights to catch, minus one of the guys up there. I know he's a rider, and a couple industry guys over there.
Yep.
So Tyler comes up to me as I am getting my
and
stuff.
Tyler's the local.
Tyler's our outfitter up
Yeah.
there that we're buddies with, and he organizes all this stuff. He comes up and he's like, how late do you have, how late can you leave tomorrow morning? I was like, depends. I was like, why? He's just like, cranes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I could definitely do 10, 11, 12.
What's the limit for sandhills
5 per person
per day?
per day.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
so that was quite the day that morning.
Yeah.
That was a pretty rockin' morning. We've got some footage of an absolute just cranes getting hammered. We were running bismuth and tungsten on that one, and it got a little dirty. So
That sounds awesome.
And I'm getting daily photo updates from Kyle, and I'm
Yeah.
like
What
in
is
the office like itching. I'm like, dude, almost stop sending me stuff because it was so awesome.
wish you were
when,
here.
when was that again? So that was
Saturday morning,
what, like September?
September 10th, I think is when we were coming back.
That's
So
pretty awesome. So I began waterfowl hunting in Texas, and from memory, some Saturday around the 15th of September is like early teal season.
Yeah, that's the same thing in Missouri. Early teal season, you get like the 2 weekends, the first 2
Yeah.
weeks of September.
Yeah. So to be able to hunt everything up there, but not in like full breeding plumage,
No.
but still pretty awesome to be able to get up
Oh,
there.
yeah. It was, I mean, so in Oregon, we would have a September goose season that lasted like 1 week, and it was usually like, I think like the 6th to the 12th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we would get honkers a little bit then, but it was usually like 1 or 2 days, and the resident birds kind of figure out what's going on, and they go to the golf courses, and unless you have an in at a golf course, you're not killing birds. But yeah, to be able to just go hard, full bore, hey, we're going to shoot, honkers, we're going to shoot ducks, we're going to shoot cranes.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's the earliest I think I've really gotten to kind of put the full hammer down. So,
And you guys filmed it.
We filmed all of it.
So when can we see some of that?
I have some images. Tyler's seen them.
I've seen them, but yes,
But
the
for
video.
the people that are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, when and where could they see the footage from this hunt?
So we will be uploading it. Final Approach will be uploading it, which is who we were hunting with and was filming with us, on their YouTube channel. And we will be posting that in about a week and a half.
So when this comes out, it should be available, and we'll have links on the Weatherby side.
Perfect. That's
sharing.
where I was trying
so
to get. Yeah.
we'll be able to, on all of our socials, we'll have some reels and clips to get you guys excited and point you to seeing the 18 eyes in action.
That's
So,
awesome. So was that it? Your only hunt for the year? Are you done? Because
No.
you should be after that. It sounds like.
No, I got to restock the freezer because I couldn't bring any of that home.
Yeah, there was a ban.
Yep, I unfortunately crossed the day after they put the avian bird flu ban into place, and 3 days after I came home, they lifted it.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so there is some crane in the freezer, though, that I will be partaking this Saturday on, actually. So I am heading back to Canada on Saturday.
This guy needs joint residency over here or
Yeah,
something.
he's our international sales manager. Canada is our biggest international customer.
And I just happen to have clients right around that area. So going to go up, see a couple of the guys up there. We're going to keep running those 3-inch guns and just have ourselves a good time. You and I are going to Nebraska.
We're going to hunt on the North Platte, right?
Yeah,
should
we'll
be
be up
good.
there
I'm
with Whiskey
excited for
Slough. You're heading out somewhere.
I'm headed out tomorrow actually to go with Ryan Callahan for a episode of Cow on the Field with Meat Eater.
Nice.
We're going to be doing some pheasant hunting. I'm going to take one of the 3-inch models as well as an Orion 20. Cause I kind of like 20 gauges from pheasant hunting upland. Past that, I'm looking at going with duck lore from another Meat Eater production to Fort Peck.
I might have to
Montana.
sleep in the back of your truck on that one. It's just be like, hey, Tyler, where'd you come from?
I'm, I would if I were you. I'm excited about that one because Fort Peck's got kind of a reputation for being pretty awesome.
Yeah, I drove through on the way to Canada, and it was looking real good. So I can see exactly why you're going there right now.
Yeah, so that's late November is the plan. So it should be a green head fest.
That definitely should.
That's the plan. And I had a phone call yesterday with a good friend who I'm going to protect his identity on here, although I'm tempted to name a name. I will not. Who may or may not have a bison ranch south of Billings with quite a bit of Bighorn River frontage.
Really?
Sounds intriguing.
Not far from where we were field hunting last year.
Oh.
And have access and wall tents ready and waiting.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, we've got options, is what I'm saying. So I'm actually quite excited about that. My inception into hunting, period, I started hunting later in life, was waterfowl. And there's still not much that gets me more excited than seeing birds cupped and committed.
Oh, yeah.
Just I don't care what they are, divers, doesn't matter, but you get birds that are just absolutely cupped, doing that little cuppy wobble thing, coming in tight, and I just love it.
I love when they start flipping because they realize they're still too high and they want in that bad. They're just inverting.
They're just dropping altitude like crazy.
Oh.
Tyler Kyle got to be on a special moment for me last year. He was there on my son's first bird ever that he dropped, and I guess you sometimes wonder about the pressure you put on your own kids. And this is Tripp's first ever real duck hunt. There's a camera crew. It was kind of a last minute deal when Mario from Final Approach and people were in town. We had a couple great days in the field and we have an extra day. I'm like, I'll bring Tripp. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So Tripp comes out, and we hadn't shot a shotgun in months. So I'm like, this could be a train wreck.
This could be a couple bucks a day.
Oh,
Yeah.
He put on a shooting clinic.
He went, I think, 6 for 6. Didn't
wow.
miss. It was nuts. I was like, that's my boy.
And we did it on the coldest day of the entire season.
It was gross.
Oh, it was so cold.
Yeah. But those
are the days, though.
It was really fun. Yeah. There's a spot that we like to go on on a river in
Yeah.
Montana.
Undisclosed location. Yeah.
It might not be Montana. I don't know.
Yeah.
Idaho.
There's a state
Yeah.
somewhere in the.
that's not Sheridan. That the worse the weather is, the better that spot is, and so like we look at trying to make time available when the weather is gross, and it pays off typically.
Yeah.
If the weather's good, don't even go.
No. No, we'll go farther north at that point.
That's the hard part about, to me, the hard part about waterfowl hunting is like scheduling. Like if you're big game hunting, like, hey, elk opener is September 15th, or sorry, October 15th, whatever. I'm going to book a week off and go get my elk. Can't really do that the same with waterfowl, especially
No.
around here. Like, you got to play the weather so much. So, like, in this window of time, there may be a good day if the weather's bad.
That's what we were talking about. It's like even some of the testing stuff we're doing. We're like, we need to, like, even local stuff, just be like, we're going hunting these 3 days because it's going to be good. So you got to go when it's good, not when you can, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, luckily, I have a boss who I can, text and say, hey, it looks like horrible weather tomorrow. I think I'm going to take a day off, and usually he joins me.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like, where we going? Well, I think we only get to do that because we work really hard the rest of the time. So
Yes,
if
That's
that
fair.
works out.
There's plenty of weekend work there.
there is, and late nights for me.
Yeah, you've got some crazy time. People in Australia, they
Yeah,
have a
that's-
slightly different clock than us.
Yeah, that's kind of the time zone game. So,
Yeah,
but
No.
it works in my favor some days.
it does. So Kyle does a great job on our international side of the business, and most people stateside don't care about that at all. But just like in the U.S., Weatherby has a great name, I think, outside of our country, and you've done a great job promoting that. So good on you, Kyle.
Thank you.
To kind of start landing this plane, we got 3 new models of 3-inch chambered 18 eyes, Max 7, Mossy Oak Habitat, First Light Cipher. 4 models.
Four
like I
models.
said.
I was
And
going
a
to wait
black
till
synthetic.
till those
Yeah.
start
All
spinning there.
4 models. So 4 models, black synthetic, and the 3 camo models. 3-inch chambers. What chokes are these running?
So they are Cryo Plus.
Yep.
So plenty of aftermarket support there. You can do Carlson's, Pattern Master, Moeller's. Everybody's making chokes for them, although I have found our factory chokes, especially shooting bismuth, proved modified, is fantastic over decoys.
I was going to ask specifically about chokes, kind of get a little more geeky right at the end here, but you've played with quite a few of the aftermarkets. So
Yeah.
talk about what you've seen pattern-wise between even ours. It's okay to be fully honest.
So ours do pattern extremely well. I do sometimes like an external aftermarket choke, just primarily these volume shoots sometimes when you're shooting 8 geese, 8 ducks in one day. I like being able to reach up and kind of check my choke tube tightness.
Yeah, so the choke tubes that we include are flush chokes. So
Correct.
you need a wrench or a coin or the shell of a 12 gauge to be able to tighten it fully. So an external one, you can grab the Neuralink because it sticks past the end of the muzzle.
Yeah, otherwise you're dropping the chamber open, trying to check it quickly.
Yep.
So what we have found with bismuth is improved modified full, factory improved modified on number 3s to number 5s is very good over decoys. The full to me is almost a little too tight. I see a lot of guys actually over choke their guns. And then, remember, you're trying to swing a pattern. You're not trying to shoot it with a rifle. So
Right.
that's usually the issues I've seen on that. I usually recommend something along the lines like if you're going to shoot aftermarket, stay away from wad stripping. It doesn't seem to kind of play well with bismuth. It has to do with actually deforming the pellets a little bit. It seems like when it's ripping that wad off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're shooting steel, I've had great luck running like Pattern Master wad strippers, number 2s, number 1s, very deadly, very lethal over decoys. Carlson's Cremator series, pretty dang good too. So
That's what I run.
yeah,
I've
they're
had
a
good luck
great
with
choke. And I like the mid-range stuff, honestly, because I find that's kind of that perfect combo for what we do, where it's like beyond when you're at close range, but there's always that third shot and that bird's going away, and by the time you're getting to them, I like to have an extra little bit of tightness in my choke to try and hold that pattern.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, it's interesting with the bismuth and compared to the steel, especially with going back to choking stuff down a lot harder than you used to. So it's something I kind of I had to like wrap my head around a little bit.
Force yourself back.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like, oh, okay, think like I'm, going upland hunting. And then the other one is tungsten, which has you going back to shooting like steel. So I tend to open my chokes up with tungsten because of what I've been finding. I do need to shoot some more stuff. We've been shooting some of the blended stuff, so then you got some steel mixing in, so you're kind of having to back up a little bit. It'll be curious to shoot some pure tungsten. It's just getting my hands on it right now. So we'll see what the patterning board shows on those down the road.
Awesome. What did we not talk about? Did we leave anything out?
I think we killed it.
I'm hoping so.
I like the confidence,
We
Tyler.
killing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. There we go.
Kyle killing it with the great hen. It's awesome. This is fun, guys. New products are a lot of fun. I meant to ask you one more thing, Kyle. So we'll wrap up with this. So you had kind of 8 other people in the blind with you. What was their response to the 3-inch chamber guns?
So they were actually quite excited about it because there's a lot of guys up there that like to do upland hunting, and they really like to use one gun to kind of do a lot of stuff. There's also a lot of good opportunity for grouse up there, pretty close range stuff, so they don't really want that, they don't want to run heavy shells. So they're like in 1 ounce, 7.5 in the timber. So there was a lot of excitement on that one because they're looking at basically a gun that's the whole package for a guy who wants one gun to do everything with. So that was kind of great feedback to get from them. They were running amazing while we were up there. And so especially one of the older guys was running it. He's just like, yeah, I don't need a 3.5. And he's like, this is just a hair lighter, a hair shorter, and it fits me real well.
That's awesome.
And so we actually had 2 of our older shooters in the blind that day. 2 birds left. So we're like, each one of you has to kill 1 bird. And these 2 are like squaring off on each other in the blind, giving each other a hard time. And we were telling them it was apparently the muzzleloader season here. So we're going to watch them go back to the muskets and
Just load one and
so each guy got 1 shell, and flock came in and pop 2 dead birds on the ground. We're like, well, we thought this was going to take another round or 2.
And we're done.
Yeah, we thought someone was going to mess up, but no, feedback was wonderful on the trip. So I'm excited to see how it all goes again this round, see what everybody has to say, and I think it'll be all good.
That's awesome. So you can find out more on weatherby.com. There's some menu bar across the top. Go to shotguns and then check out 18 Eyes. Past that, make sure you have signed up for our email newsletter. We're not going to flood your inbox with emails. We try to protect that, but when we send something, it's usually important. So please do sign up and check that out. It's the only way that we know we can get in touch with you because we do get throttled a little bit by social media.
We do.
Yes.
So although we will post in a variety of places about new products and announcements, we know we can get an email to you. So please sign up for that. And with that, we're done.